Okay, so here what we're going to be doing is we're going to be translating. It says translate geometric figures on a coordinate plane, rotate them on a coordinate plane, and reflect them. And here what they're going to want you to do in this little exercise is start by cutting out that trapezoid that you see here. It looks like a trapezoid, but this figure. Then they want you to lay it onto the coordinate plane and copy it. Now, what's important here is it says you'll use this trapezoid. If you look what she says, you're going to use the trapezoid throughout the lesson, so don't lose it. And he says you're going to use the model you cut out to help with the translations. So you're going to lay it down. You would just come over here and you'd lay it down wherever that fits. At 3, 9 is 1 point, and 3, 4 is down here, and 11, 4, and 11, 10, right? So you're going to end up with something that looks like this, right? Oops, I'm not real good at tracing, but that's the idea. Okay, and then it says, now, if you were to translate it 15 units to the left, you're going to get a different trapezoid. So we've done translations already. This is just take the x values and subtract 15, right? And take the in this case, when you're translating down, you're taking the y values and going down 12. So subtracting 12. So this would be, just taking your x values and subtracting 15. You need to graph them. So basically, you're just sliding it 15 units to the left and sliding it 12 units down. That's called a slide translation, right? And then you can answer these questions. Rotating. So now it says, when you're going to plot it, you want to think about making this thing. They're calling it a hook. But it's the idea, really, this is like the slope triangle, right? How many units to the right, and then how many units up. When you rotate 90 degrees, what you're basically doing is instead of going to the right first, you're going up first. So instead of going right, 2 units and up 1, you're going to go up 2 units and left 1. And notice that the coordinates, what's happened to it. The 2, which was x, has gone into the y position, and the 1, which was y, has gone into the x position, and the sign has switched. They're going to ask a lot of questions about that in a little bit. And if you go 90 degrees, you're going to plot by going, make the hook. Just think about making that hook that they talked about and plotting it, and then you're going to do that for 180 degrees, and you're going to do it for 270 degrees, and then 360 degrees. And then they want you to notice, fill this in. So you'll notice, remember when we first did it, x and y switched places, and the x became, the y, which became x, is now negative, right? So this answer right here would look like negative y, comma, x. Okay, so I want you to do the same thing with each of these. You're going to figure it out, and I'll give you the answer to this one too. If you go 360 degrees, it's going to come right back to itself, and the answer is going to be xy. This is true only if, for all of these are only true if you're rotating around about the origin, around 0, 0. Okay, so now here you're going to graph it. You're going to rotate again just like you did before. You're going to keep going, and I think you should be able to get those done. Let me know if you have any questions. Now, in this case, what they're going to have you do is they're going to have you take that trapezoid, and they're going to want you to fold a piece of tape in half and then tape it to each other so it's not sticky, right? But a little bit of it's going to stick out, and it's going to stick to the trapezoid. Okay, so you're basically going to take the trapezoid and you want it to stick out. You're going to place the trapezoid here, but you want the non-sticky part, like a little tab, a little plastic tab, to be extending beyond the origin. Then you can put your pencil on that tab, and then you can try just moving it, rotating it around. Okay, you're going to slide it around. Holding the tab still here at the origin, you're going to slide and rotate it and retrace it. And that's really just showing you, the whole purpose of that is to say, hey, look, so you can kind of see here, they show the tab is just holding still as you slide around. But the point being that when you're rotating, you're going to keep everything congruent. And you should be able to just fill in those coordinates, answer the questions, and then the last thing you're going to be working on in here is reflections. And you're going to notice that if you reflect it across the x-axis, okay, that what's going to happen, here we're reflecting across the y-axis, so what you're doing is you're going measuring the distance between the point and the y-axis, and then continuing the same number of units across that. And what you're going to notice is that the x value is going to become the opposite sign. The y value will stay the same. That's whenever you're reflecting across the y-axis. You do the same thing when you reflect across the x-axis, where the x value stays the same, but the y value changes. So that's basically what they want you to answer. So if you're reflecting across x, you're going to have the x be stay the same, and the y is going to become negative, or the opposite. So you can put a negative sign in front. And when you're reflecting across y, then y is going to stay the same, and the x value is going to change signs. You can put a negative in front of that. And then they want you to actually do this here, and then they're going to have you reflect with the trapezoid, get all of the coordinates, and then you're going to make your reflection. So your reflection should be that you recognize, hey, whenever I do one of these three transformations, which we call the rigid transformations, that the result of the transformation is a figure that's congruent. In other words, you can complete the transformation to that trapezoid that we first had, and that the resulting trapezoid is going to be congruent in every way. It's got all the same measurements. So you should be able to answer all those questions.